Alright, so this is the exam revision booklet that we went through. This is the solutions and explanation of all the questions that you would have completed by now. And if you're still stuck, maybe you can use this video to help you finish off some questions that you haven't yet finished. But this is not just the solutions, this is the explanations as well. So let's go through the first one. So here it's asking you for the two variables, which is fruit. The two options are grapes and bananas, and age, which is under 12 or 12 and over. The reason why this is both, or the reason why fruit is nominal is because you can't really order grapes or bananas, and it is a categorical variable. So a categorical broken down to a nominal. And with age, this is categorical again, okay? It's not numerical, it's categorical because we've only got two options. But it's ordinal because it can be ordered from, I guess, smallest to largest, which is under and then over, which comes second. Keep in mind the word respectively, okay? Make sure you look in order the way the question's asked. So nominal belongs to the fruit, and ordinal belongs to age. Next question. Now I've got all the working out here for you guys, but I'm just going to talk through it. So you're going to hear my boring, annoying voice for about 10-15 minutes. The percentage of days on which she solved the puzzle under 6 attempts is closest to. So firstly, I'm just going to count how many belong to under 6 attempts. So under 6 attempts is these amount of dots. So I just counted 15 out of a possible 21. Okay, and then times it by 100 to get a percentage. Now this one here, we want to find the range and the interquartile range. There's a lot of things happening here, but let's just break that down. The first thing I want to do is look for the range, okay, because maybe I can eliminate some of the possible answers. The range is the biggest number, which is 8. Take away the smallest number, which is 1. So the range is here, which is 7. So my possible answers are 7 and 3 respectively, both 7, or 7 and 3.5 respectively. So at least this way, if we're running out of time, we can guess between one of those three. But hopefully that doesn't happen to you guys. Here we know we want to find the IQR, which is the interquartile range. Okay, we know we have a total of 21 dots. You can either count, or you can see that it is here in the question. Okay, so first things first, I want to create this little thing here. Okay, so if I actually have a median, I know that it is the middle term. It's either going to be split between two numbers, or it's going to be an actual, like the number there. So 21 days. If I was to split this off, I would have the 11th term in the middle. Okay, that's my actual median, which I've circled here. And then to keep it equal, 10 terms on the left of that median and 10 terms on the right of that median. So in total we have 21. So 10 terms, 1 term, and then another 10 terms makes 21. Okay, so we know that the median is the 11th term, so I'm just going to count 11 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's how I circled that number there. Now on the left of the median, which is these 4 and these 7, are my left, these 4 and these 6 are my left terms for my first quartile. And then I know for a fact that if I wanted to find the median of the first 10 terms, okay, well then I'm just going to do the whole n plus 1 divided by 2 thing. Okay, so 10 plus 1 divided by 2 gives me 5.5. And that should be the same for the other one. The 5.5th term is just as a matter of counting the 5, between the 5 and the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's between these two. Now, because these both numbers are both 3, well, we know that the Q1 is 3. And then the 5.5th term after the median, okay, same thing. We count after the median. So counting from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's between these two, but because they're both 6, well, we know that the Q3 is 6. And then, sorry about that blue thing all the time, but the Q3 is 6, the Q1 is 3, so that means our interquartile range is 6 take away 3, which is 3. So IQR is 3 and range is 7, but because it all asked the question for the range and then the interquartile range, well then we've got 7 and 3 respectively. Hopefully that helps. Now this one here, I want you guys to get practice using the CAS calculator. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to press pause, but I'm going to enter all this information in the CAS calculator. Okay, so essentially you want to get your CAS calculator open, go into list and spreadsheets and type in all the numbers, making sure you're giving the heading of height. Okay, you want to press Control I. You want to go to Add Calculator. You want to hit Menu, Statistics, Stat Calculations, One Variable, click OK, make sure you select height and press OK. This is going to give you all the summary statistics. Okay, so what it's asking you for is the mean and the standard deviation, which is 160.7. That's where you get this number here, and I think it asks for 1 decimal place. Yep, and the standard deviation, which is this one here, 10.1. So you have to round up here. Make sure you know how to do that. Now, I skipped A, but we'll come back to it. Which one of the two variables is a nominal variable? Nominal variable basically means categorical, but it has no order. Okay, so this is the name. These are the categorical options. So they're just names. There's no real order to names, but we can call this the nominal variable. Okay, and then we got this one here, which is the ordered stem plot below has been constructed from the data from this sample of 15 women. If we want to find the third quartile, first we're going to have to break it up into, like we did before in the previous question, like this. So if it's an odd number, odd number of numbers, which is 15, we can say that we will have the circled middle number. So this will be the 8th term, meaning we have 7 on the left and 7 on the right. So now we just need to find the Q3. So if we have 7 terms here, 7 plus 1 divided by 2 is the 4th term after the mean. Okay, so this is the median, which is the 8th term. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've circled it. And our Q3 is the 4th term after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Be careful not to just write 5. It is 1, 6, line 5 means 165. So that's your Q3. What percentage of these women is taller than 154 centimeters? You just got to count how many are taller than 154. Okay, not including 154, obviously. So starting from 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 15 times by 100 to get a percentage, and that's 60%. We haven't covered this just yet, but it will be one of the very next lessons. But to work out the upper fence, you'll need to just use this formula here. Okay, so the Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Okay, you can work out the IQR. That's quite simple. Okay, just make sure you find the Q1 first up here. And then you're going to get the IQR of 13. So you just plug it into the formula and you should get 184.5, which is what the question's asking you to check. Alright, here it says the variable's age, which is under 55 and over 55, as well as preferred travel destination, domestic or international. They are both categorical variables, okay? These are not numerical at all. Just because it has the number in it, it's split up into two groups, okay? You can't add it, you can't calculate it. They're just two different groups. Okay, so the dot plot shows the number of goals kicked by the Warburton football team in a series of 48 games. The number of games in which Warburton scored more than 17 goals. Well, simply, here's where 17 is, and this is where more than 17 is, so that's why it's 4. Same dot plot. What is the median? Okay, so we've got 48 games, so we're going to try and find the median using n plus 1 divided by 2, which means it's the 24.5th term. That's this one in here. It's between 13 and 13, so therefore in the middle of those two numbers is still 13. This one here, okay, this is a bit trickier, but the dot plot below shows the number of goals kicked by the team over a series of 48 games. Still the same dot plot, but now we want to find the interquartile range. Okay, so before we couldn't actually, in the previous example here, we actually knew the median. We knew it was the 8th term. And here above, we also knew the median was the 11th term. But that's because we had an odd number of n, which was 21, and in this case, 15. But in the question we're up to now, we want to work out the median of, an even number of n. And what we did before was we just worked out that it was the 24.5th term. So if we're trying to find the Q1 and the Q3, well, we know the median is in between the first 24 terms and the second 24 terms. Okay, so we want to figure out now the Q1, which is using 24 here. So it's the 12.5th term using n plus 1 over 2. So 12.5th term, you just got to count and find it in between the 12th and the 13th term. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get all the way up to here, which is the 12th and the 13th. So that's where we get the Q1 being 12. 12.5th term after the median. Okay, see how I've circled into the two groups? One. So this is obviously this blob here is the first 24, and this is the second 24. So then we just count the 12.5th term from here. So counting 1, 2, 3, and so on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and we're here. So that's how we get our median of 15. Our Q3, which is our upper quartile of 15, which means the IQR is 15 take away 12, giving us 3. All right. The variables opinion, approve, somewhat approve, and disapprove, and age group. They're both categorical, but they can both be ordered. So therefore, they're both ordinal. There were 160 people in the 18 to 24 age group. The number of this age group who somewhat approved, so somewhat approve is the middle band, so like the half shaded section of the segmented bar chart. So I'm just going to estimate that this first bit is like up to 18, and the leading up to here, this is probably another 32. Okay, so I just need to find 32% of 160, and I got 51.2. The closest answer there is 53. This one's an easy question. I think 98% of the state got this correct. But the difference, which basically means subtraction, in milliseconds between the mean and the median is, here's the mean, here's the median, 220 take away 150 is 70. This one asks you how many of these are discrete. Okay, so I've got here that this is categorical, so can't possibly be discrete. Same with this one. I believe this one is discrete because number of wings is limited to a certain number of wings. This one's numerical, but I believe it's continuous because you can get body length in as many decimals as possible. So that's continuous, and same thing with body weight. So therefore, only one of those is discrete. This one here is positively skewed because the bulk of the data is at the top and the tail end is pointing in the direction of the bigger numbers, which means it's pointing to the positive direction, which means it's positively skewed. Determine the median BMI for this group of men. We know that there are 32 altogether. Okay, so 32 plus 1 divided by 2, 33 divided by 2, 16.5. So I'm going to count in between the 16th and the 15th. 1, 2, 3, and get all the way up to here. So be careful that this is not 5, this is not 6. It's not even 245 or 246. It's using the key. We have our two numbers, which are 24.5 and 24.6. So we've got to find the average of those two numbers, and that's how we get 24.55. People with a BMI of 25 or over are considered to be overweight. So 25 or over starts from here. We have a total of 12 numbers that belong to this group. 12 out of 32 times 100 gives you 37.5. Write down the range. Okay, biggest number minus smallest. So 23 take away 15. That's easy. Equals 8. The median, we've done this a few times already. It's the 16th term, which you count from bottom up, bottom up, bottom up, bottom up, and you should get 19. Write down the number of days in which 21 eggs were hatched exactly. Well, nothing belongs to that group, so 0. Percentage of days in which more than 19 eggs were hatched. More than 19 is 20 and above, so that should be all these, which there is a total of 12 of them, divided by 31 times 100 is 38.7. This question here, the number of these countries with a population size between 5 and 20 million. So 5 and 20 million is here, okay? So we're looking at these three bars, 11, 4, and 2. We have a total of 17. The shape of this histogram is described as, well, the bulk of the data is up here on the left, but it tails off towards the more positive numbers. So that's why I'd say positively skewed. And now we just have to answer, do we have outliers or do we not have outliers? I believe we do. At least this one's an outlier. So that's why it's with outliers. Again, so I'm asking you the same question over and over again just to get you a lot of practice. But the range of test scores is the biggest number, which is 89. Take away 40, which is 49. The IQR, same thing once again. We've got 23 total numbers. If it's an odd number, we should have a middle number. So that's the 12th term. 11 on the left, 11 on the right. The 6th term is our Q1. So that's the 57. And the 6th term after the median is 75. So our IQR is 75, take away 57, which is 18. And that should be it. Hopefully this helps you, and hopefully you can keep coming back to this video when you're revising for SACs or exams.